Snow, lots of snow. Here in Alberta, it's cold. And over here, you can barely see it in this video, but maybe I can digitally make it better, is the Grand Prix. Now it's ready to run, with the exception of the fact that my blower motor doesn't work, and so it can't really move any air through any sort of ventilation system, and so it's really cold to drive, and you typically fog up the interior. Well, I found out what was wrong. The nice cold, but there's no wind in it Quonset. So the diagnostic work I did, and thank you for all the comments on what to check for, the easy stuff, relays and fuses. Those all checked out okay, but I did an actual physical test where I took the screwdriver that you see here, pushed up on the blower fan, and it started to spin. Of course, I had to do that by getting all the rust out of the way, which would indicate why it had failed. So it was actual physical failure of the blower fan. A trip to NAPA, and $100 later, here's a new blower motor. Now this one's a little different than the one that's there. Hopefully not too much different. But it's essentially just a blower motor and a squirrel cage that you see there. And when we take the old one out, hopefully, we'll also have some dead mice bodies, but I think I have to go into the cowl to get those. As shown here, there's only 3 screws that hold it in. This motor is a little different. The plug's also a little different. The one that's on the car actually comes right up to, it plugs into the side, so that might be easier to connect. Hopefully it'll fit. And a little gasket here to probably null vibrations of the fan motor. But we'll take the first one out. The issues I am worried about deal with getting the old one out and the new one in. The screws are Phillips, I believe, so that won't be difficult. The issue will be clearance in getting this assembly down around carpet and wiring and out of the dash without wrecking the fan. Taking the old one out's easy because I don't care about it anymore, but getting this guy back in, well, it could be easy, but we'll find out. Getting to the fan is not hard, honestly. There is a panel right here that lives underneath the dash here. It's kind of a kick plate that protects the fan. It's held on by a couple of those black guys there, the little black connectors. So you pull, I think, 3 or 4 of those out plus the light, and you have complete access to the fan. Now as we come down here, see the rust and more rust. And up here, underneath the dash, because the audio changes, here's my, oh, there it is. Here's my fan as it stands now. And you can actually, I think I took the pick, but you could actually push up on this shaft of the fan and it would start spinning. And then as soon as you let go, it would fall down and shut itself down again. Now here's a little air duct, I guess, for cooling. And this big harness here will be my downfall. But it is just 3 screws. There's 1, 2, and then the other one's 3, and they're going to be rusted in, of course. But we have to remove this girl. The power plug's on the other side, and in theory we could drop this out. So I'm going to take those screws out, and then I'll show you how great or awful this thing is to actually get out of the car. All right, we got it out. I was wrong about the Phillips. It's not a Phillips. It actually takes a T20 Torx you see there, and I had to use a ratchet assembly just because the way the angle is, you can't get like a screwdriver with a replaceable tips here, so I used a 1/4" driver and got the 3 bolts out. I put a heater underneath there because there's a big wiring harness and you can push it out of the way and drop the fan out, so it actually does come out fairly decent. One other thing you need to do, of course, is there'll be a rubber tube from here over to the motor casing. Just unplug it and pull it off, and it comes right out. This motor feels freer. Feels freer than the one I'm putting in, and it had a little bit, it still does, some mouse crap in here, and it's got the rubber around it obviously for silencing. So that's out, and if I bring my other one over here, hopefully they're the same. They're pretty darn close. Instead of having the plug right on the motor, it's on a wire loom. That does not hurt my feelings one bit. It's a little bit stiffer, but a little bit freer turning, but they're ultimately, well, that one's quite a little bit bigger. So, I use this gauge here, and that to that, edge to edge. Yeah, it's a little smaller too, so it's not going to be quite as efficient. That's fine, whatever. Right now I have no heat, so I'll take it. So we got this girl here, but I found some cool stuff inside the car as well. See how well I can do this with a flashlight. So we're back underneath. There's a nice mouse awesomeness nest, if you will. As you see, here we go into our relay and our plug and our harness that goes in, and that goes to that little resistor pack you see right there. That would probably be a wear point. If it gets wet, it would get damaged. It's probably damaged. I only have, I think, 2 and 4, so not even 5. So I have damage still, but right now I just need something that runs. And then further up the hole, you can see I got some more mouse crap to pull out here. But what I'd forgotten to look at even, and it would have been smart if I had done it, but I didn't think of it till recently. So you open up your glove box. You can push those things together, and it over opens, and that lets you see into here. And what I had forgotten, and what's kind of important, is that when you go to max AC and it recirculates air, you can actually open that flap. It's a vacuum modulator. And you can actually see the, I don't know if this camera shot can get it, but the top of the fan. So another test would have been to, see if it was free, is to stick your hand in there and give it a couple spins and then see if it'll turn on. You see I got some more mouse crap up there. But for that, and it's vacuum driven. But other than that, it's pretty cool. I don't see any much more mouse stuff in here, so good for me. I'm pretty sure everything else is like on the cowl side. But now I'm gonna clean up that little mouse poop, and I'm gonna put it back in. Okay, so another tip I'm figuring out, and I'm kind of just looking at these. I was trying to get the rubbers on, but it's not quite, these are not equidistant apart. They're actually a little bit different. So my motor from my car sits like this. This gasket only actually sits one way, that the holes actually line up. So note to self, and it's this way, make sure you get this lined up. So this was pointing towards the car. And so I should be able to just transfer it this way, and it will match up again. I'll put my rubbers on, but I gotta make sure that the plugs both point in the same direction. Otherwise, getting this thing on, it's gonna be tough. Okay, I didn't know that. So I'm feeling up around, and I feel some paper-like material. I'm like, oh, what the hell is this? So I pull it down, and my Grand Prix has a paper air filter that the mouse has enjoyed, obviously. But yeah, I pulled it through the fan hole. So obviously, in the cowl area of that, there's got to be a point you take out, and there at one point was supposed to be an air filter, which I didn't know the car had. So another reason why, yeah, look at all that. My car smelled like mouse fur, dead mouse, especially when it rained, because this would get wet, I guess, and cause that. So look out for that. I really got to get that cowl off. It's just so cold, I'm going to break plastic if I do, but gross? Yeah. Anyway, so I did take the vacuum and suck out the rest of the crap that fell down, and I'll have to run for a little while without a filter. We'll see how that goes, but I'll have to get the heaters out, like this guy here and my other one, and get the cowl off, and obviously buy an air filter for it, because it has one. Neat. It's heavy too, it's wet. Gross. One thing the instructions did say, there's an instruction sheet that's fairly useless, but it said check it first. So I got it plugged in. So I'll turn my key on and turn it to 2. And I got 2, and 3 is dead. 4 is good, and then 5 is about the same as 4. So it does work, so we can proceed with installation knowing that it does actually run when you turn the key on. Okay, so what did we learn? Well, in my case here, I learned that pushing on this little button, which the fan is usually located like this, let the fan run. And as you can tell by all the rust and water, this thing obviously got too wet. The plug was pretty easy. The screws at T20 were easy to get out, and this was actually not bad. I did have to heat the wires, and what I mean by heat is make them more than above freezing, to help pull them out of the way to drop this fan out, but it actually wasn't that hard. My Grand Prix has an air filter that clearly needed to be changed. Good to know. That lives under here, so we'll have to get to that project one day. Access is hard for a fat guy like me. I'm not fat, but I'm big, and so usually you're on your back looking up. There's the fan installed in its present state. That's just a rubber ring right here to hold the little air ventilation on there. The rubber plug is okay with the wires, but did get in the way putting it back in here. My wire thing had already been opened up, probably by me a couple years ago. So this big cable here just pushed aside and let the whole thing drop out. Inside the glove box, as you know, you can get to the top of the fan, so if something gets in there, you can get it out. Here's my kick panel, which I'm probably gonna throw in the back seat because it's a lunchbox car. That can be open if it wants to. I don't haul passengers around. Okay, so I'm in my really dark car with no kick panels underneath the interior or a column around the thing here. Let's go ahead and turn it on. So we got the Grand Prix. It's off. Here we go. Let's go ahead and turn it to vent and turn it to 2. And the fan's running, and holy crap, look at that. You can't see it, but I can feel it. There's air. And in theory, should be able to drop that down. And now it's pumping out cold air. There's obviously some crap still in the fan. The most important part. Oh, this is nasty. Oh my god, that's a bunch of crap in the air now. Anyway, let's kick it up to defrost. Hot. And the vents are changing. And there's hot air blowing. And that's what I needed. So, yes. 5 kind of works. 4 definitely works. 3 doesn't work. 2 works, kind of good, so that's when you're driving along, and then 1 doesn't work, but I can finally take my car back to work again. Awesome! Hey guys, thanks for watching. Leave any questions or comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel for awesome updates on what I'm doing. Please check out the next video I've got lined up for you, and also check out my Patreon page if you want to support what we're doing here. And finally, check out my other less tractory page, Red Barn Homestead. You can subscribe to that too, see some awesome stuff. And we'll see you next time.